Imagine this. You walk into a bank, calm and confident, just like millions of people around the world. And you place your money into someone else's hands. And then you walk away with nothing in your hands. No gold, no cash, just a number, quietly sitting inside a system you cannot see. And somehow, that feels completely normal. But if you stop and think about it, even for a moment, it's a strange idea. Why do we trust something we cannot see, cannot touch, cannot truly verify with our own eyes? Because banking was never really about money. It has always been about belief. And that belief has a long history, built slowly through human behavior, through risk, through fear, and through moments when everything almost collapsed. Let's go back to the beginning. Before banks, before accounts, before numbers on screens, people understood value in the simplest way possible, through things they could see and touch. Land, animals, food. But as societies grew, this system became a problem. Because value needed to move. People needed to trade across distance, with people they did not know. That is when gold became the center of everything. Gold was durable, rare, and trusted. But the moment it became valuable, a new problem appeared. Where do you keep something that everyone wants, but you cannot always carry? If you carry it, you risk being robbed. If you hide it, you might lose it. So people looked for someone they could trust. And that is how goldsmiths entered the story. Goldsmiths already had strong, secure storage. They worked with valuable metal every day. So people began leaving their gold with them, not to trade, but simply to keep it safe. In return, they received a receipt. A small piece of paper that said, "Your gold is here." At first, that paper was just proof. It had no value on its own. But slowly, something changed. People realized that carrying paper was easier than carrying gold. And more importantly, others were willing to accept it. So instead of returning to collect their gold, people began to exchange the paper itself. And without anyone planning it, money changed forever. For the first time, value separated from the object itself. Money became an idea. Now this is where banking truly begins. Because the goldsmiths noticed something important. Most of the gold never moved. It stayed locked away, and used, day after day. And so they asked a question that would change everything. If the gold is just sitting here, could some of it be used? Could it be lent to others while the receipts were still being used? This idea was both brilliant and dangerous, because the moment they decided to lend that gold, money began to exist into places at the same time. And this leads to a surprising truth. Most of the money you believe exists does not actually exist. It is created when banks give loans, which means money is not simply stored. It is created, expanded, multiplied. And that was the true birth of banking. Not just storing value, but creating a system that allows value to grow beyond physical reality. But this is only the beginning of the story. As trade expanded across Europe, especially in cities like Florence, banking began to evolve into something far more powerful. The word bank itself comes from the Italian word banco, meaning a bench. Money changers would sit behind these benches, exchanging currencies and recording transactions. But over time, these benches became institutions, and those institutions became systems. Banks were no longer just places to store money. They became instruments of power. The Medici family understood this better than anyone. They did not just run a bank. They built a network that connected cities, merchants, and governments across Europe. They could support kings. They could fund wars. They could decide who rises and who falls. Have you ever noticed how often money and power move together? Because once you control the flow of money, you begin to shape the world around you. And this is where banking becomes something deeper than most people realize. It is not just about saving or spending. It is about control. Now let's take this one step further. Because the system did not stop at lending money. It introduced something even more powerful: interest. At first, it seems simple. You borrow money, and you pay back a little more. But think about what that really means. A bank creates money through a loan, and then earns profit from that creation. Which means money is being created, and at the same time, debt is being created with it. And that debt must always be repaid with interest. So now imagine a world where more and more money is created through loans. But every loan comes with a cost. A system like that never truly stops. It keeps expanding. And the deeper you go into it, the harder it becomes to step out. This is why some people say that modern economies are built not just on money, but on debt. And once you see it that way, the system looks very different. But every system built on belief has a breaking point. Imagine a rumor spreading through a city. Your bank does not have your money. At first, only a few people panic. Then more. And suddenly everyone is running. People fill the streets, Lines grow longer. Voices rise. Everyone is trying to take their money back at the same time. But the money is not there because it was lent to others. This is called a bank run. And in that moment, the truth becomes visible. Banking only works if people believe it works. And when that belief breaks, the system collapses. This has happened many times in history. Banks have failed. People have lost everything. Entire economies have collapsed. And every time, the same lesson returns. Trust is fragile. Now imagine something more personal. You wake up one morning and open your bank app. Everything looks normal at first. But then you notice something. Your balance is gone. You refresh the screen. Again. And again. Nothing changes. You check the news. Major bank collapse. People are already outside. Lines forming. Fear spreading. And in that moment, you realize something most people never think about. Your money was never really sitting there, waiting for you. It existed because you believed it existed. And when that belief breaks, everything changes. Over time, governments understood this danger. They created rules, built central banks, and tried to stabilize the system. Because they understood something important. If you control banking, you control the flow of money. And if you control the flow of money, you influence everything else. Today, we live in a world where money is almost completely invisible. Digital banking, online payments, instant transfers. Money moves across the world in seconds. But the core idea has not changed. Trust. Without trust, banking cannot exist. So the next time you open your bank app, pause for a moment. Because you are not just looking at money. You are looking at belief. A belief shared by millions of people, holding the modern world together. And like all systems built on belief, it is powerful. But it is never completely safe. Because in the end, banks do not store money. They store belief. And the moment people stop believing, money disappears. Thank you for joining English Spark. Stay curious and keep discovering the hidden stories behind everyday things.